Okay. Are we rolling? Yeah. Okay. I'm Myka Miller, and today we have Leeav Sofer, who is the co-founder, executive, and artistic director of the Urban Voices Project. Today, we have Leeav Sofer, who is the co-founder, executive, and artistic director of the Urban Voices Project.
You got it right.
And maybe just tell us a little bit about what that is first, and then I have some other things to discuss.
Hi, everyone. The Urban Voices Project, we started actually 11 years ago now as a community choir in Skid Row. Skid Row, for those that don't know, is an epicenter of homelessness, not only just in LA, not just in California, but honestly, it's an epicenter for the nation for a multitude of reasons. We do have lovely weather here in California.
Yes.
But beyond just that, it's a concentration of a lot of services, which does make it that a lot of people send their people that are experiencing homeless to that neighborhood. So as a result, there's 3,000 to 5,000 people that are houseless in 1 square mile right there in downtown LA. So 11 years ago, I was a music teacher. I taught at the Colburn School, and I worked with an outreach worker who'd been working in downtown LA for a long time as an outreach worker for Wesley Healthcare. His name's Christopher Mack.
Okay.
They call him the urban sage. He's old enough to be my grandpa. He's like really hilarious and talks a lot. And but he's loved by all, and he could go into any neighborhood of Skid Row, and they welcome him with open arms. And he said, "I'll bring the people if you bring the music." And that was 11 years ago. And now we're a nonprofit 501c3. We still have a community choir, which is 30 plus people, as well as workshops that are in shelters, clinics, and now also libraries all across LA County and going beyond even. So
Don't let me forget to put the speakers in your car, the PA.
yes, thank you.
Yeah. I'm just afraid I'm going to forget. So remind me.
I will.
Do you remember how we met?
Okay. You were at the time the director, the CEO of Harmony Project. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to remember if we met. It wasn't through KO. It was some other, or Ken, another access point.
I figured you didn't remember.
I think I'm forgetting.
So I wanted to remind you.
Oh, please remind me.
Because, so we did this partnership, and it was actually the Skirball Center that brought us both in. And they wanted to do this concert with our kids and your choir.
Right.
Which is so freaking cool. And I wish that people did more of this, like intergenerational type of thing, because it's always like just the kids. Or, I'm sorry, just the choir. I keep doing this because I need to calm down. Y'all told me to be more animated, and now this is why I can't do that.
Just animated only by your ears.
So anyway, I just remember we had this meeting at the Skirball Center, and you weren't there, or you were coming late or something. And so we're all sitting around this like conference table, and they're all like, well, we have to see what Leeav wants.
Wow.
And we have to see I don't know if Leeav is going to want to do that, because I'm throwing out all these ideas, right? I'm like, okay, we could do this and we could do that. And they're like, well, we have to wait for Leeav. And I'm like, inside my body, I'm like rolling my eyes, like, who is this asshole? Like,
I'm like, wait, why are they painting me like that?
Like, well, yeah, totally. I was just like so irritated. And then you walk in, and you're just like this beautiful, gorgeous, like loving person, and like weren't a diva at all. And you were basically like, whatever you guys want to do is fine. And I just remember it was just like so remarkable, like your energy and your spirit. And like, of course, everybody wants to hang out with you. And I don't know if you remember, but I think it was my idea. I'm at least claiming it, was to do.
It is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Somewhere out there.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And so I just thought that was like so powerful with the kids.
You had all the orchestra kids working on it already, or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's also like we needed something a little more classical, we felt. And I needed something that was accessible for my singers, because we don't do too much classical. And that's the perfect song. Still is the perfect
Yes.
crossover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. So I'm taking credit for that.
That was you. And now I'm remembering because we had this whole thing where I went into the Harmony Project rehearsals after school, like over in Mid City, and you allowed me to, which was so fun, to go in to meet the kids and be like, okay, guys, well, I've got this big choir. You're gonna meet them, and I got to work with them after school, and they were so excited. They're so little sweethearts.
It was really neat. And they
Yeah.
weren't like the top orchestra because, we had like literally like 30 groups, like
Right.
30 orchestras. And so they weren't the top ones. So they never really got to do anything cool like that. So this was like
was the big
a
thing.
big deal for them to play at Skirball, So anyway, I just wanted to tell you that story because that
I'm
was
so
my
glad you brought that back into my
first
brain.
impression was like,
That was also one of our first collaborative, like, where the choir does get asked a lot of things all the time, but sometimes I don't know, I get a little protective too.
yeah, as you should.
You just said earlier, like, oh, it's so good. People should do more collaborations. And then sometimes I get, no, I mean, yes. First of all, I'm saying yes. And then second of all, when you're also working in the work that I do, sometimes there's like a sexiness about homelessness
Yeah.
that is a little sad.
Poverty porn.
Thank you. You know the words already. Poverty porn. It's a real issue.
Yes.
God, you have the language. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, well,
Okay.
I've been doing this for a while,
That's
so.
right. More longer than me, actually, as I've just been hearing the years you worked at Harmony Project. It's like, you must know yourself when some people, you feel like they're approaching you for more of an exploitative
Yes.
type of ask of collaboration.
Yeah,
And so
totally.
you're always like, I don't know. Who are you, first of all? Like it takes time. Although Harmony Project's incredibly, established nonprofit. So I was excited to work with you guys, of course. And Skirball is incredibly established. But sometimes even with the big juggernauts in the cultural arts world, still sometimes are so far apart from the kind of work we're doing in Skid Row or the work that you were doing in South LA.
Totally.
That I'm sure you've had to be a little bit protective and actually...
And like try to change the language because, there was our founder used to use specific language like, the kids are like getting, bullets are flying by when they're walking to school, like gang members. And like really, these were just hardworking families that really wanted something for their kids to do and to like, have you know what I mean? And it just get on my nerves so bad.
You get so hyperbolic about the crisis of all the stories, or you cherry pick one crisis story that now represents all the people, but only continues to pigeonhole how those people feel. And they feel boxed in, and now they don't feel seen as human. They feel seen as items of some form of barter in exchange for someone's sympathy.
Yeah, and like our kids would say, and this was like we're really brought it home for me. They'd be like, "I never knew I was poor until I heard y'all talking about us," and I was just
whoa.
See, here I go again.
Oh,
I know.
wow.
Like that's when you find out, like
That's
again, these are
harsh.
just hardworking families who want a better life and like deserve to have music, and it's not in the school. So anyway, that just gave me chills. But
yes,
because it's just
powerful what you just said.
The language and words matter, and
so many of us doing service work or churches, we just don't realize this.
And we mean well. We totally mean well.
Of course. That's the other thing. Is like at the same time, you don't want to scare anybody off from doing good.
Yeah.
Like I totally get that you're doing good. So how do you come here and feel included that you are here to join us in doing good? And yet how do we at the same time educate, those that are just taking their first step into service work, community work?
And I think there's also this like us versus them. Oh, good catch. You did? You got a little
I got a little splash.
That's all right. It's good you wore black pants. We coordinated.
Yeah, we tried.
I also wanted to wear something flashy for you.
I like the boots.
Yeah.
I know. I just went with something that would show
good.
that I look like I'm losing weight when I'm not. That's what I did.
Well.
And then I chose very comfortable shoes.
Okay, very sensible shoes. Yeah.
Sensible is not the. Yeah.
But anyway, I feel like there's this like kind of us versus them, and really they're just people. Just people who happen to be down on their luck and maybe not have a place to be, or maybe they're in transition. And so just trying to treat them just like you would treat anybody else,
It takes a long time to get there, though. This is a tough one because first of all, we know that in community work in this system of our country tends to be a huge racial gap, of course,
Yeah.
between class. And I was very lucky. I grew up in, I've lots of privilege, middle class upbringing in Orange County myself. And I actually went to an interesting high school because it was a high school where they had a GATE program, like an honors program to attract kids, but we were also partnered with the ESL, the English
Oh.
learning kids from the school district too. So my high school was a mix of those kids that are going to be going to all the liberal arts college and Yale and whatnot, as well as kids that had, a lot of diverse background and harsh family stories and single parent family, very mixed families that were very tough to have to get through, or they're just an immigrant situation where they were
Yeah.
just learning English, and so it was just going to always be harder for them to get through the school system. So what happened is that my friend groups were incredibly diverse.
Yeah.
That I was very lucky to have because I. I, I, sorry, I'm getting in this ramble, but I'll have a point to it. But I was in this honors group. I did get smart enough to be in the honors group, but I was always failing out of the honors group.
Yeah.
I was in the smart kids, but I was that one smart kid that, why is he here? Kind of smart kid. And I think it's because I'm smart enough, but I just didn't respect having to do the work to show it. But one thing that I did commit myself to was the band room.
Yeah.
I was a clarinet player. I was woodwind sergeant. I was the pianist for choir. And I was spending all my time in the band room and all my time in the choir. And that was a space that doesn't matter what part of the schools you came from, whether you were from the International Baccalaureate program or whether you were from also the ESL program. We all kind of came together in the music room.
Yeah.
And the backgrounds were even more melted.
Absolutely.
That was our quad, the band room.
Yeah.
And I think because of all of that, I went into school and I went into different parts of my life where, even though I did come from mainly Caucasian Orange County kind of at the time, at least when I was growing up, I found that I would connect in university with so many, just a diverse group of friends from different cultures, different backgrounds and ethnicities. And when I go into Skid Row, and I found such comfort being around any person from any background, that was part of my luck, of just the luck of the draw of being from the high school. And I didn't appreciate what I had until I got to Skid Row, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how isolated and how separate, even
Yeah.
LA, as diverse as LA can be.
Oh.
I mean, it's so easy to not have to ever touch someone or talk to someone
Yeah.
that's not from your exact community and
yeah.
your background in the city. It's big enough.
Very isolated.
It's so isolated.
I mean, and that was intentional, by the way. They did that intentionally, where people wanted to have their own community way out there. And now we just kind of all, now it's just all filled in.
Right.
But that was intentional. So I
Right.
think that's always very interesting. But I mean,
that was the circle all the way back to why the racial disparity in class, and
Yeah.
then also how that affects people wanting to do good and do community service. And it's inherently a race. Some in this country right now, doing service is inherently having to be face to face with race, with face to face with your identity and how you fit into this system's compartmentalization of different identities.
Yeah.
And it's just an interesting, sad truth that I think that is another thing that just taps into the whole, you just said, the us and them.
yeah.
And I think that's just something that we all have to embrace. That it's if you're going to do service work, you also have to confront, if you're Caucasian, you have to confront your whiteness.
Yeah.
If you're doing service work, you have to confront so many different things that you might have had the privilege to never have to think about.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. So how did you get into music? How did you start?
Oh, well, I love you, Mom. Full credit to...
Yay.
She finally gets the credit. No, she's always like, I made you. My mom is a cantor. And if you don't know what a cantor is, for the listeners, it's in the Jewish community, the Jewish culture, it's the clergy, but it's musical minister of sorts. But in Jewish services, also like Catholic services, it's mostly singing, very little speaking and readings, and it's led by a musical leader. So while 80% of the hour of a service would be maybe led by a pastor or a minister in a normal Protestant space. In the Jewish spaces, it's usually led by the cantor. So they take on the weight of services, and then the rabbi gets up, does a sermon, and then usually, his work is outside of the service space. His work is teaching classes and stuff like that. So a cantor is quite involved, very musical, and needs a lot of training to carry so much. So they're heavily trained, usually 8 years of school to become a cantor.
Wow.
And her background was also piano and guitar, and she did puppet theater. You're welcome. I'm giving you the whole thing. And she definitely made sure that all of the kids had piano lessons. And my dad also has a very natural, beautiful singing voice, even though he's very shy. So I'm sure I get the singing from both of them. But the funny thing is my mom forced us all to do piano, the 3 brothers. I was the youngest.
Good for her.
And I hated it.
Yeah.
I really freaking hated it. I threw tantrum after tantrum. And
are there videos of that?
oh God, I wish.
I would love to see you throw a tantrum as a child.
No, I don't know why. There's also, look, a good teacher is important.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good teacher, it can make the kid hate music, unfortunately.
I think our whole entire way of like teaching back in the day, I mean, and still to some point extent now, is like this very like, that Russian teacher that would like.
I literally had the teacher that slapped the hands.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had that teacher. Of course I was going to hate it.
Yeah.
But what's a funny thing is I learned at least 1 year or like 1.5 years until she finally let me quit. I was probably 4th grade or something. And then I really liked playing one song even after I quit. And I would play that song incessantly, at a nauseating amount. The song was On Top of Old Smoky. And you can imagine.
I thought it was going to be like For Elise or something.
No. It's like the worst song to be on repeat. And for some reason, as a kid, like I was really into this song, and I'd play it for like an hour after school. That's how I'd procrastinate from doing my homework.
Oh, okay.
Because you're not supposed to do TV. Okay, but I could play piano for an hour, and I can't be told go do your homework, right? Because I'm doing something musical. That's good, right? So I would play this one song over and over again, and I did it every day, and I did it every week, and for months, and I got bored of doing it the same way. So somehow I knew how to like swing it, and I started jazzing it up, and then I did a Latin version of it, and I had probably like by the end, I don't know, 422 variations on a song called On Top of Old Smoky. And then I got bored finally of that. Or no, my brother yelled at me for playing the same. He wanted to murder me.
Yeah, of course.
And so my mom did have like piano books from my brothers and from her background. And so I did like try to read new music on my own. And I was horrible. I had no technique. So I'm like plucking. And the ADHD of it is like, I would just get through all the way to the end of the song. And okay, next song. Like I never practiced a song. I just read songs and I just read.
Yeah.
And I'd read a whole book and I'd read another whole book. And by the time I was like in 6th grade, I had no lessons on piano, but I was a better sight reader with horrible technique, but somehow could pull off
because of that ADHD or whatever, ADD.
I was a better sight reader than my mom.
Great.
Like I literally started being able to accompany ensembles at like 7th grade.
That's so cool.
From bullshit, just incredible professional bullshitting skills.
Yes.
And it was just all came from my refusal to do homework and my refusal to take lessons.
So this is like a really interesting thing. 'Cause the theme of this podcast is giving music, right? But so many people have it as this like oppressive thing that they were made to do, like. Or people will come up to me and be like, oh, I used to play piano when I was 5, but I quit. I wish I had never quit.
Right.
But so it's just funny, like we're talking about access and giving and making sure everybody has, an instrument. And this is like
to this
oppressive.
Access to torture. We want to make sure every child has access.
It's like your parent is just trying to do what's best, and you're just like rebelling in every way. But
that's really true.
Okay, so
It's so sad but true.
It's very true. I mean, there's a lot of people in that boat.
Let me put it to you this way. I loved playing On Top of Old Smoky. There was joy.
Do you still play it now?
I'm going to tonight.
Are you kind of burnt out?
I don't. You know what? This is inspiring me. But I definitely know, even as a kid, that like as long as I wasn't having to do it as an assignment, I really did like sitting at the piano. Mm-hmm. I did.
Did you okay, I was talking about how so many people get started playing music at church. Was there any aspect of that for you
Yeah.
in temple or?
As things rolled along, remember the good teacher versus bad teacher?
Yeah.
We did go, we were lucky, just like most middle schools or elementary schools, they start a music program at 5th grade. So we were lucky to have that at my school district, and you could pick orchestra or band. And I don't know why I picked band, probably like some friends. And then they go with the,
You don't think the clarinet was like
I didn't call
like
them in.
it wasn't
I
like
wanted
the
a trumpet.
Okay.
But they go through with the trumpet mouthpiece, one by one with the
Yep.
kid. They disinfect, blow, no
Yeah.
sound. All right,
Next.
you're a woodwind player.
Yep, totally.
Woodwind player. And I was like, give me a try. Nothing. Woodwind player. All right. And then
Yeah, when like someone could have easily been like, okay, buzz your lips like this,
Yeah,
and then
of
you could have been
course.
a trumpet player. You might have been like the next Wynton Marsalis.
We don't know. But what I did do is clarinet. I don't remember what pushed me to clarinet other than the band director probably needed more clarinet players. And
That's how I ended up playing oboe.
Right.
They had too many clarinet players.
Oh, see, it's so sad. Double reeds. I feel like that's how you all got started. No offense.
No one chooses this. Why would you ever choose this? No, just kidding.
But they did have an amazing, one of the substitute teachers, Miss Carol Friedrichs, I'll never forget her, was a clarinet teacher out of her private lessons out of her home. And she was always the cool sub. And when I found out that she taught clarinet lessons, I immediately was like, Mom, sign me up, like really excited. Not because I wanted to play clarinet better, but
Because of her.
Of her.
Yeah.
She was so inspiring.
Yeah.
Once again, there's these teachers that all need to win awards because
Yes.
the way they changed the kids' lives. She changed my life because I'm not saying I even truly know if I could say like I was inspired by the clarinet, but I was inspired by her,
yeah.
every week. And I was the one that wouldn't practice. And at the beginning of the lesson, every week she'd be like, did you practice? No. And I'm like, how like, that feeling of like, I didn't practice. I'm so dreading my lesson. I just don't want to go. I don't want to go. I would still want to go to my lesson and face the wrath of her scolding me because she was still that cool that I just wanted to go be at Miss Friedrich's house and hang out and go do my lesson with her. And she just was this adult figure that made me feel really like I really belonged, no matter what, whether I was practicing or not. And then eventually I got better, and my mom supported it. She was so happy to hear I wanted to do any form of lessons again, and so we all pushed through. And eventually, in high school, I was at that time still playing piano, accompanying the choir. I was playing clarinet in band, and we decided I'm going to go to college for clarinet.
Oh wow! Did you?
I did. There was one moment where I was maybe not going to go to college.
At all?
No. Some side story of all the 1,000 side stories. I wrote a song that got YouTube famous when I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah. And
you're an influencer?
Hold on. Let me just bat my man bun for a second. I wrote a song when I was 16 or 17, and my older brother, who was loving film, he wanted to film me. He got me into the studio. It's a whole thing he helped to set up, and my mom kind of set up. Because my mom she would do this thing where she would like go into the studio to record Jewish songs with her rabbi that was going to be distributed amongst their congregation. So I got some studio time by like getting on the tail end of that Jewish synagogue studio time. And then he brought the camera, and I played this song. It was called Timeless. And this must have been 2006. And you probably would remember that YouTube was pretty new in the early 2000s, mid 2000s. If you get over 100,000 views, that was a big deal. Now it's completely different. But this song got 850,000 views, and it even went up to 1 million.
Whoa.
My brother posted it on his thing because I was not even old enough to have my own YouTube, whatever. So he posted it. It goes viral, and I get a phone call. He gets a phone call from Randy Newman.
Whoa.
Randy Newman wants to know if your little brother has 20 more songs like that one, because if he does, I will produce him. And Oren, my brother, was like, this is the best thing. Like, you really have to do this. But this call came like 2 weeks before I was scheduled to go to auditions for college. And all of a sudden, I was freaking out because to me, I knew how long it took me to write that one song, which was a long time and a lot of effort. And I'm like, Oren was trying to convince me to drop out of my first year, not go to my first year of college and take a year off and pursue this thing with Randy Newman. And I don't know why, but I said no.
Wow.
I got scared. I got scared that I wouldn't be good enough, that it would be a huge mistake. Now everybody else is auditioning for college now. I can't lose that opportunity. I need to go to where I'm supposed to go. And I ghosted Randy Newman.
Have you like talked to him ever since?
Randy Newman, no. I mean...
You haven't run into him?
If you know him.
Well, I mean, sometimes people are like, they run into him or whatever.
No, I mean, but that would be a funny story.
I hope that Randy Newman sees this.
Randy Newman.
And like...
It might be 20 years later, but...
But now you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready now.
No, but also how different your life would have been if you had gone that route and not this other way. Just like those decisions that are so like life changing. And sometimes you always think like in another life I'm like doing this, or in a parallel life.
It was literally that moment. I have a very clear in another life moment.
Yeah.
Instead I went to college, got a clarinet degree, and I doubled in voice. And because I doubled in voice, I went into more choir world, and I did a lot more choir conducting. And when I got out of college, my first job was a choir directing job at Colburn School.
Wow.
And it was only because I was at Colburn School that I got hit up by one of the board members that asked if I wanted to come to Skid Row. So if I had gone down the Randy Newman path...
You'd be a famous, rich composer.
A failed artist, still living in his mom's basement.
Or that.
Or a famous... I mean, but I don't know if I would have ever stepped foot in Skid Row. And I could have, to the end of my days, been an artist that didn't know what service work is.
Right. I mean, I think there's so many artists that make music for themselves, and it's very, it can be very selfish and very self-absorbed. And the fact that your whole life has been about giving music, but seriously, giving music to all these people and changing all these lives and impacting all these lives. Like, to me, that's much more beautiful. But I kind of want Randy Newman to hear this story, because I think that then he could become a big donor.
Yes, Randy. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Give lots of money.
Maybe be on
both
the board.
To the foundation. Urban Voices could use some too.
I mean to Urban Voice. I'll take my 10%, finder's fee. But that's fascinating. Okay. So then, because I always assumed you played clarinet because of klezmer.
Right.
So, when did you get into klezmer? Like, how did that happen?
So my side project, and which has allowed me, like you just mentioned about how artists making music for themselves.
Yeah.
We all still need that too, right? It's like...
Yeah, fine.
But it is... Yes, exactly right. You and I have so much to talk about. This could be like hours and hours of podcast. That feeling of like, you in your beginning, you're like, everyone's such a selfish artist, and you're just out there for yourself, especially in LA. It's like, the industry here is like, oh, you want to just tear your skin off. Especially also if you grew up, did you grow up in LA?
No, I'm from Texas.
You're from Texas. But did you come here for the Harmony Project job, or how?
No, I came here to go to USC for my master's.
So you came here still like college age?
Yeah, I was 26, I think.
Okay, so 20s, you're developing.
Yeah.
But my point is like, you've been here now to understand like LA as a local, not LA as a transplant, I think. Because it takes a couple decades to really
I don't know, actually, but
do you still feel like a transplant?
I kind of do. It's weird because like I don't fit in Texas with my family and like Texas stuff, but I also feel like I kind of don't fit in here. So I'm like this weird...
Here as in the LA we were just talking about?
Yeah. I mean, I love LA and I've embraced it, and I feel like I know a lot about it, and a lot more than like most people, because I've been to lots of different communities and like spent time there, lived in lots of different places.
Where have you lived? What neighborhoods?
So I've lived in Lincoln Heights, I lived in Hollywood, I lived in Koreatown, I lived in Santa Monica, I live in Inglewood now, I lived in... Did I say Lincoln Heights already?
Lincoln Heights is the most interesting of all
I think so
spots.
too, that's why.
Because like Lincoln Heights would be like...
Oh, I lived in Orange County too.
Oh, you did? Where?
I lived in Anaheim.
That's so funny. Because I'm like, to me, if you know LA, you're having a barbecue in the park for your birthdays growing up. Kind of like like LA is you have an intimate relationship to the very like noisy parts of of where kids go that are like a little grimy because it's neglected by tourist world a little bit. Like for example, Long Beach. Nobody goes to Long Beach to go to the beach unless you grew
Yeah.
up in LA.
Yeah.
Then you go to Long Beach because you know it's not
I also
not
lived in
Venice.
Long Beach.
Okay. Well, then you know this. Like it's not Venice. It's not Huntington
Right.
Beach.
Right.
Like Huntington Beach is like where everybody goes in Orange County. It's not Venice where everybody goes. And all of those beaches along, LA and Hermosa
Well, and I go to
Redondo and-
Dockweiler now because I'm in Inglewood.
Okay, well that's because it's convenient.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, you would understand that Long Beach is like the local beach. People, not tourists, are not going to Long Beach.
Got you.
You have
Yeah.
either all of South LA and Compton teens are going to downtown Long Beach to go party,
Yeah.
or you have the families that are driving in to the lagoon in Long Beach. You go there, there's not a single tourist because it's just that you're not bothered by the craziness of the tourists, and it's because it's not the nicest beach. You go to, sorry,
Yeah.
Long Beach, but I love Long Beach. I go to Long Beach, but you go there, there's like those oil rig islands.
Right.
that
That's
are
like
what the-
Dockweiler. Exactly.
Right.
And it's like right under the plains, you know?
Yes, that's
but,
Dockweiler. Right.
But I love it.
I love it too.
Yeah.
That is, you're a local.
Okay. All right.
You're no longer a transplant because you
Thank
like
you.
Doc.
But yeah, I love LA. I do. And I love the grimy parts. Like that's why I don't want to live up here.
Yeah.
We're in Westlake Village.
Yeah.
I do that schlep because I want to be like in where stuff is happening and it's like real life stuff and not
Real life stuff.
Sirens
Right.
and airplanes.
Because people that like move to Hollywood because they want to be where stuff's happening, but then they've moved to Hollywood just for that. That's different than like Inglewood. I think Inglewood is more, again, it's where people just live, and they live to exist here and just make their lives work. Because there's like, excuse me, one thing about LA that people ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, LA's getting worse and worse, and it's getting dirtier, and the homelessness." And it's like, why don't you just leave? Why don't you go somewhere else? And
Such a simple solution.
such a simple solution. And then also,
a lot of people are going to Texas.
I was about to say, a lot of people are. A lot of people are leaving.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like it when you're on the 405.
No, it feels like everyone else is still here. Just leave now. No, I'm just kidding. But you decided to leave, get out. No, but here's what I keep saying to them who've asked me that, because they've asked me that a lot. And like, or even just close friends that are like, if you were another city you'd pick to live in, where would you go? And I can never answer that question properly because I say, the reason why LA is getting worse is because people who used to care about the city are leaving. And if I'm someone who cares and I were to leave, LA is going to get just that much worse. And so I actually think
We need you. We need you here.
I think cities need the people that care about the community to stay.
Yeah.
And stay through the grimy years.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have to be part of the long lens of love, which, by the way, guess who taught me that line? Ken, Ko.
Oh.
The long lens of love. But to understand the long concept of the investment, that I'm here through the dark times of the city so that I can also see it through to get back to health again or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know that it's hard for LA as a transplant city, mainly transplant city. It's seeing in and out all the time compared to many other big cities other than maybe New York. But I feel like that's one thing why I've never even thought to leave LA. It's because it's like, no, I'm here to work on my city.
Yeah.
I'm not here to go and just say, it's hard,
Yeah.
and then leave.
Screw LA, it's dirty.
Yeah.
Let's get a broom and start cleaning up.
Thank you.
Okay, but we got off on a tangent. We were talking about klezmer
Okay.
because I didn't hear how. I don't know.
How did
remember
that
what
start?
happened.
Yeah. Okay. So klezmer, I played clarinet in high school and middle school, as you heard, and my mom gave me my first gigs on the clarinet playing for Jewish synagogue for services.
Okay.
And then in college, like 19 years old, freshman year, I was getting my clarinet degree, and I was also I got a scholarship for tuition, which is great.
Oh, wow.
But for living expenses, I had to pay my way through. My family helped the first year, and then they said after that, like,
That's exactly the same as me.
Yeah, they said the first year you're good, but then make sure you get a job.
Exactly.
Start paying rent. Da 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 da.
Yeah.
They've helped in many, many other ways I can go to describe. I mean, they would always, if I needed it, they would support me. But for whatever reason, I also wanted to get independent.
Yeah,
quickly.
me too, yeah.
So I definitely was working as a musician even as a freshman, sophomore. And I started playing a lot of gigs accompanying on piano. Again, I had a strong sight. There's piano majors who were like, oh, I'm scared, and then
you could sight read.
I was the main pianist for all of like the collaborative piano things all over the department. And I was
cool.
not a piano major. And everybody was always feeling it's so weird that it's like, okay, Leeav's got to accompany this concert, even though we have all these piano majors, but just because they knew that I just put the music there and I'll just go. I can't do anything super fancy, but I will never mess up a note I'll rearrange it. But
Make it your own.
But anyways, so I got a gig. My professor, Dr. John Talberg, the choir director at Long Beach, his best friend was renewing their vows, is playing for this beautiful ceremony. It's in Santa Ana at Temple Beth Shalom. It was a Jewish service. And I did what every good musician should do. And also another reason why every musician should learn a little bit of Yiddish. I stayed afterwards and I schmoozed. Yiddish 101. Schmoozed. And I was walking around and I was just talking to people, and there's this very nice elderly woman who is talking to me, and she's like, oh, you're Jewish. And oh, you play the clarinet. You must play klezmer. And for those that are watching that don't know, klezmer is Jewish heritage, specifically from Eastern Europe, that's Balkan kind of sounds, Slovenian, and also a little maybe Turkish, but it's done on the clarinet, accordion, and violin very commonly, and it's very Jewish. And I never played it once in my life. And so I said to her, of course I play klezmer. My other really good advice to every growing professional artist: lie.
Lie as much as possible.
At least
I actually have a similar story about
do?
yeah. When I first started playing salsa, the guy asked me like, "Do I want to be in the band?" And I was like, "Yes." And he's like, "Bring your flute." I didn't play flute. So I literally was like, I can play the flute. I play oboe. It's basically the same fingerings, like I can do this. So I basically just learned on the bandstand.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
didn't lie, perhaps.
Okay.
I just omitted.
You said, yes, I'll be in the band.
Yeah.
No, I straight up, she asked 2 questions. She's like, you must be a klezmer player. And I said, yes. She said, you must have a klezmer band right after that. And I said, of course I have a klezmer band. And then she's like, great, I'm the head of the sisterhood here at the synagogue. We have a big gala every year. We want your band to play. And I was like, great. And I jumped in the car and I started calling like my Jewish university friends, musician friends. Hey, there's like 2 of them. You want to be in my klezmer band?
One plays violin and one plays accordion.
And then
Boom.
I ran out of them pretty quickly. So I started calling the non-Jewish friends and be like, you want to be in my klezmer band? What's klezmer? We're going to find out together. And then that's one of the reasons why we called the band Mostly Kosher. Okay. Because we weren't all Jewish.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But
I figured it was because of the repertoire.
And also, we appreciated the source material. Yeah. At the same time, we loved fucking with it and destroying it into our own arrangements. Because we were university kids. We were like, let's make this Frank Zappa,
Yeah.
Klezmer Zappa, let's go.
Yes.
and we had fun. And we ended up being like the only klezmer band in LA to do anything crossover. For some reason, there was just this gap. And we kept getting concert after concert because there's just no other young klezmer band doing what we're doing. And now, almost 15 years later, we have the accolades we've been able to do is we built the Hanukkah show at Disneyland Parks. We franchised it to the Epcot parks.
Oh, wow.
And we've also...
Did you get paid for that?
The franchises, that closed a couple years ago.
Okay.
But we still do get paid to do the shows at the California Adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, we're one of the few klezmer bands that tours and concertizes, which has been a great outlet while I run the nonprofit work. I get to do that on the weekends.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's actually one of the, I'm looking at my notes because I have like 5 things for each person I want to bring up. And one of the things I want to talk about, well, first of all, I want to say you won the Excellence in Music Education Award this year. This is something that I always do at our gala because I feel like that is what we do. And people always forget about the music educators or the people that are doing the work. So I also like to make it a surprise. Because I don't know, just because, why not? I don't want you to know that's happening, but I'm like, you are coming, right? You will be there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Did I tell you what I told Thor? So I thought you invited, as we'll recap, I thought you were inviting me because you heard that our organization, as you've been hearing from all the organizations you support, I'm sure, that we're all getting hit really hard this year. So donate, and you wanted to help. We were going to talk about multiple things. We're still talking about multiple partnerships, but one thing I thought you were just doing is like, I'm just going to do this to help him out. Is like, I'll get him a seat at the gala so he can network, and that's all I thought that was. I thought it was like, I'm just going because maybe she'll help me shake hands with one or two people that down the road might lead to a new supporter, a donor, I don't know. But I wasn't having any high expectations other than just general networking. I was enjoying it. I was so grateful for the invitation. I did get a little bit of a hint when you texted me like twice saying, you are coming, right? And then you're like, you get a +1. And I'm like, a +1. And then I don't know. I didn't know what that meant. All I knew is like, wait, like you want to meet are you trying to meet my partner, or you like want someone that I should bring for more networking?
Well, I said it could be either one.
You did say, and no offense to my colleague that I brought that night, but now after getting the award, I was like, oh, I wish my partner was here. but I showed up, and Thoroff, who's my dear colleague, my co-director now, we were both just enjoying being there and meeting people. We're sitting at the table when everybody got ready, and you're up there, and you start describing a person who you just started touching on like a little bit of like Skid Row, or you said something like, we work with partners that are not only in schools but in prisons and veteran programs and homelessness, and as you started describing this person, I turned to Thoroff and I'm like, who else the fuck works in arts and homelessness that's here today? I got so mad for 1 second. I was like, that's my first reaction.
I love that, because that would be mine too. I'd be like, there's another person here that does what I do?
I was like, wait, I mean, I can get away because I just have to process this. And then I just started describing a little bit more. I was like, oh, no, this is us. This is us. We're just talking about us. And I was like, for maybe like 3.5 seconds. That's
hilarious.
I was like, what the fuck? I was so mad.
That would totally be my exact reaction. So I love that.
But
I also thought they kind of ruined it because they put your face up there and your name. I don't know. Maybe you didn't see that.
Not until you said my name.
I said it. Okay, good.
You said my name, or at least... I don't know. I didn't notice.
Okay.
I didn't notice.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All I remember is that you finally said like a line that was way more specific to like Urban Voices and to me, and I was like,
oh, it is me.
This is me. So
I love that.
I really, really appreciate it. And I also want to just say a little disclaimer too, which is like, there's so many amazing educators out there, and I've been really lucky that I can say I've been a professor at the Colburn School, which is a prestigious Juilliard of LA.
I didn't know that. That's fancy.
I can say that I've built a curriculum that interweaves arts and wellness together through Urban Voices Project, that other adult professionals have come to Urban Voices to learn from our curriculum, get training, and then go do programs elsewhere. So I definitely feel like education has been really important to me, but I just know that also, like, I just know people that they make their whole lives about education, and there's like an incredible, the people that, for example, teach music education as their doctorate, and then they go to UCLA and they're teaching it there. I know the director of music education at UCLA, and she's amazing, and she takes it so seriously to understand the curriculum and building the lesson plans and the structure and the theory
pedagogy
of it, the theory of education. And I always felt sometimes like an imposter, because my version of education is, I just need to get this idea into your head. You just need to get it. And my skill around education is that I could probably come up with 100 different analogies to get this idea to be clear to you. And that's probably my biggest talent, is like, you don't get it? Well, think of this. If you just and I would sit in Skid Row, and I would sit in our music education classes with adults with different levels of disabilities and adults with different levels of background, some with reading and some adults that can't read. And I'm like really trying to explain overtone series, and and I would get,
why? No, I'm just, it's fine.
Fine. I know, maybe, well, but what I'm getting at is like the passion for me was definitely there as a teacher when it comes to like, when they finally had the light bulb moment. All of us teachers, like, we were thirsty for the student to just be like, I get it. And that's what we're striving for. We're like, and then I also just feel like it's my passion in a way, but I don't know if I appreciate it the same way I see these people that build pedagogy around it.
Right.
So I just wanted to take a moment of respect to the people that have gone into
The real educators.
you know,
Studied it.
the academics. I want to just respect that moment and I'm not diminishing my award, but I am just saying, like, I really want to pay homage or whatever to the people that have dedicated their lives to it, where I felt like I used education more as a tool sometimes to get different results. And that is to create a connection with that student to feel hope to come off the streets again next week into the classroom. And I think all of us educators also do that too.
Yeah, of course.
But there's just maybe different approaches to a larger entity, this thing called music education.
Absolutely. So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to tell us a story where you've given music and someone's life has been changed. I'm sure you have like a gazillion of these stories, but just share like one story about someone who you've seen music completely turn their life around.
I have plenty of stories, but I want to say, can I speak to one philosophical thing around that?
Yeah, please.
And then I'll share the story.
Yeah.
I really love the podcast that you guys are building. This is amazing. And I also contend with the concept of giving music.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You
I'm
probably
ready.
already know where I'm going with this.
I know, but
You already know.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I think they both work.
Okay.
I think both things need to exist, because there's giving the ability to access music is really what you guys do so incredibly well. And I know for a fact that you'd agree with me with this. But one of my latest light bulb moments when I've been talking about Urban Voices Project has been the idea that there's already a inherent power dynamic in giving anything.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. Yes.
Sorry, I'm going.
We should be like sharing music. Oh shit! Now we got to change it.
No, but it's important because giving music's the most accessible way for people to understand it on the surface level.
Yeah.
And really clear. I don't want to call it marketing, but really really clear packaging of a narrative is incredibly important. So I want everyone to appreciate that. And then when we're sunk in and we got our teeth hooked in, then we could go to the next level, which is that I've been telling people that in homelessness, everything that we try to do to solve homelessness is all about what's broken about a person. An individual does not have housing, then our system thinks that they're broken. You're broken. You don't have a job, well, you're missing something. You're broken. You don't have your physical health together, you're disabled, well, you're broken. You don't have your mental health together, you're broken. Everything about you that requires us to tell you that you don't fit in this thing we called society, it's because you're broken, you're flawed, you have these problems with you. But guess what? We have the solution. We'll give it to you. And I, as great as that sounds, you have services that are trying to give food, give jobs, give housing, give all these things. And am I rebelling against any of that? No, I'm not. I'm just saying that in partnership with us giving, we have to be aware that inherently you're broken, I'm not. I have the thing that makes you whole again, and I can give it to you if you want it. Just only reminds them of how broken they are.
Yeah.
But here's what's so fucking phenomenal about the arts. Arts is the one thing in the world, music is the one thing in the world that it meets the person exactly where they're at.
Yeah.
And it tells them that they are a whole person from the moment it meets them. And not only that, reminds them it was in them all along.
Yeah.
We all have art. We all have creativity. We all have expression, a voice. And music, it just opens that up for you. You don't have to be a good musician. You could have been that 4-year-old that loves to sing at the top of your voice. You have music in you. If you go back as an adult to your 4-year-old self, you'll never have thought the idea, I can't sing or I don't play music. You'll just sing.
Yeah.
And we all started that way. So arts is that reminder of that inner child that you are fully whole. There's nothing broken about you. You are a whole person. I don't have to give you anything to tell you that. Arts, all I'm giving you is the reminder. And that's what we give as musicians. That's what Guitar Center gives when you give access to instruments and to all of those kids and adults. And I hope that that's what Urban Voices Project gives, is we're reminding people that while this whole system reminds them how broken they are, that no, you are whole. You are a full person right now, because you can sing, you can express, you can create. That's my speech.
I'm like, mic drop, that's it. Right? Dang.
It's that light bulb moment I had that it's like, how do we, look, do we have to give? Yeah, we're in capitalism. We have to. We're stuck here. We got to do this. We got to do what we're doing. You got to keep giving to help. And like I said, in partnership, arts is the one thing that might actually be that first thing we should do before anything else.
Yeah.
That first thing that reminds that person of their integrity as a human being. So that's why I always have to make the pitch, like, why arts? Why arts and homelessness? Mm-hmm. You are constantly making that pitch, why arts, I'm sure, for for all of the foundations to support you guys. So I think that is the one that I'm going to stick with as my most pertinent argument to
That's
why
beautiful.
arts.
I mean, I'm literally speechless now. I have nothing else to say. I mean, that was great. Thank you so much for that reminder also,
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we do get on our high horse about it, Okay, but I do want you to tell the story.
Okay. And by the way, that took me 10 years to get to that moment.
Okay. Well, it was really poignant and worth it. Okay.
The first 8 years of this life of mine, I kept thinking, I'm bringing music down to Skid Row.
Yeah.
But here's where there are stories that remind me that I'm not bringing anything other than just creating a space, right?
Okay.
And there's this one guy, first name Robert. And Robert, incredible singer in Skid Row, better singer than I am, and yet was in an encampment, living out of his tent. And Christopher Mack, my co-founder, knew about him, knew he liked to sing, and was able to invite him to come to our rehearsals in the very beginning. I think this is the end of year 1, or maybe year 2. Anyways, so Robert had been coming to rehearsals and been my main tenor voice, such a strong singer. I typically, some ego, I had to back him down a little bit. But he was going through a lot of issues, and he had health issues, and like we had to help him. He had different surgeries that were making it so that he couldn't hold his bladder. And I personally went to go buy adult, diapers for this fully grown man that was feeling really desperate and trying to get his health care in order while living in a tent and having all these struggles. And I never could understand his family's background and where he came from. And I don't always push. I usually don't ask pushy questions unless they offer them to me. Mm-hmm. But we had this one opportunity to sing for the first time, one of our pretty big concerts we've ever had. And it was going to be a concert with some orchestra players too. It was this very special event in December that we were building up to. And we got ready to go, and what we had to wear was the black version of this T-shirt, the Urban Voices Project T-shirt, and black pants. It was just black pants, black shirt. Chris and I went to the thrift shops a couple weeks earlier. We got them all of the sizes they needed, and we let them make sure they get their uniforms on. And then we show up at the gig, and he's not wearing the black shirt or the black pants. He's wearing a full tuxedo. And
wow.
And also this guy, I'm like, Robert, first of all, where did you get the tuxedo? But second of all, you didn't have to get, we gave you, we already gave you your whole outfit. You got your uniform. And he's like, oh, don't worry. I have this uniform. I have my uniform in the bag right here, and I'll get changed. I just really need you to know that this wasn't for the performance. I finally reached out to my son, my adult son, and I told him I was going to be performing at this concert. And it's been about 13 years since I've talked to him, but he said he's coming tonight. And so we're going to go for dinner afterwards, and I wanted to look my best.
Wow.
I was like, you can wear the tuxedo, it's fine. But that was a moment where I'm like, the music and this opportunity gave Robert the confidence to reach out to his son. He felt the purpose of his life might have just been in that one opportunity to perform, that one musical moment, but it gave him something that he felt he was so proud of.
Yeah, that was his Carnegie Hall or whatever.
That was his Carnegie Hall, and I'm pretty sure he spent all of his money on that tux.
Wow.
Just so he can look his best when he has dinner with his son.
That's amazing.
How crazy is that?
That's amazing. And once again, I'm speechless and have nothing else to say. Like,
cheers to music.
Yeah. Here is to music. Wow. Damn.
Second mic drop.
Second mic drop. I know.
That one's not mine. That's
Robert's. I wanted to have
Robert's.
that story though.
Yeah.
Someone who.
Oh, that's my phone.
Oh, well that's the sign right there.
Yeah.
Everybody, Leeav, his phone is ringing, and so we are done with the podcast.